boys, today I'm going to share with you 10 tips that I wish I knew when I started playing the Strongest Battlegrounds. And these aren't just tips that I came up with on my own. No, these tips come from the top players in the entire game. Some of these players have literally gotten over 1,000 kill streaks. And by that, I mean a streak of over 1,000 kills in a row and so much more. And today I'm going to share the top 10 tips that I've learned, as well as a couple things that I did learn on my own that you're not going to hear from anybody else. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first tip. And this is one of those ones that you're not going to hear from really anyone else. At least I haven't heard this from anyone else. So guys, here's what the tip is. Analyze your gameplay. Now you might be like, Zebra, how do I do that? Well, here's what I want you to do. Record your gameplay just for like 5 minutes, go fight some people, win some fights, lose some fights, and then go back in that footage and play it back at like half speed or even a quarter speed and really analyze every single move and see what you could do to change it. A great software for recording is OBS, but you can also use Microsoft Game Bar. I mean, there's a billion ways to record your gameplay for absolutely free. So definitely take advantage of those and record your gameplay, look back at it, and this is literally the #1 thing that you can do to improve your gameplay. Anyways, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the second tip on this list, which is that you don't really need super fancy combos. Some of the most valuable combos I've ever learned in the game are the really simple ones. The combos that like absolute beginners learn, these are the combos that you really need to be learning. After that, you can start getting a bit more advanced. But there's so many content creators and people who will tell you that you have to learn Kyoto combo or Lord Heaven combo, just really advanced combos that 99% of players are not going to be able to do, at least not right off the bat. But guys, you don't need those combos. Just learn the basic mechanics of your character that you choose to play, and then look up some basic combos for that character, and over time, you'll naturally get better and get more comfortable with the character. But if you just start off right off the bat trying to learn all these advanced combos, it's not going to help you. Definitely do learn more advanced combos as you go along, but at least in the starting phases as a player, you do not need these super advanced combos. Those aren't going to help you until you get really far up in like ranked and stuff. So don't feel pressure to just learn all this super advanced stuff. Take things one step at a time. Anyways, guys, let's move on to the third tip on our list, which is fight players that are better than you. Yeah, it sounds stupid, right? But I have gotten 99% of my skill from fighting the top players in the game. If you keep fighting players that are on your same skill level, you'll never learn how to adapt. So yeah, every public server you go into, find that player who has 50,000 kills and target that player. Get them to be mad at you. And every time that they kill you, just learn what they did and see if you can figure out how you could have countered it. Just remember, every time that you die, 100% of the time, there was something you could have done about it to prevent it. That's not to say you're bad, but that is to say the opponent player definitely outsmarted you in that case. Even if you have like 300 ping or something like that, I get absolutely destroyed by some of the top players in Europe. And I'm not in Europe. They have like so much ping in my region, but because of their skills, they were able to kill me still. Sure, it might be a little bit more difficult, but even with high ping, there's always something that you could have done to win that fight. Now, if you just have an absolutely terrible computer, part of getting better might literally be to go raise some money and buy yourself a computer. I don't know. But just remember, there's always room to improve, even for the top players in the game. Anyways, guys, let's move on to the fourth tip on this list, which is to know when to block. So often I see players just doing this, just holding block the whole fight. And it's like, okay, I just shove you and you're dead. Or I uppercut you and you're dead. I mean, like, there's a billion ways to kill your opponent if they're just blocking. Now, we'll talk a little bit more later in the video about how to use your block to bait people. That's a little bit different. But if you find yourself holding block too much, you're playing the game wrong. We'll also talk a little bit more about when to use your block later in the video, but you should not be just holding block. You should be, moving around, blocking when you need to, but blocking is just going to slow you down and limit what you can do with your movement. I mean, I can't even jump right now. So yeah, just remember that. Anyways, let's move on to the fifth tip on our list, which is to learn to use Saitama. Now you might be like, okay, hang on, what? The general consensus that I've heard from a lot of pro players is that Saitama is the most difficult player to learn, but is also the most skilled player to learn. There's a reason that there's so many Saitama combos, and it's because there's so many combos. Now, one thing that I do just need to point out, I'm doing these combos on a dummy right now. This is bad. Don't do this. Get an alt account, pull out your phone, get your mom's phone, something like that, and fight against an alt account. And you might be thinking, why? Why do I need to do that? Well, the weakest dummy has 0 ping, meaning that if I'm trying to do some advanced techs like shove tech or stuff like that, as you saw right there, it didn't work because so much of the technicalities of the Strongest Battlegrounds depends on fighting a player that actually has ping. Yes, your opponent having ping and you having ping actually helps you in a lot of cases. So practice on an alt account if you are practicing combos. That's not even one of the tips listed here, but I just wanted to throw that in here because I honestly didn't even learn about doing that until I made some combo videos and got got absolutely trashed in the comments. But yeah, guys, back to the tip that I was talking about. Learn to use Saitama. If you're looking for a character to learn first, either learn Hero Hunter or the Strongest Hero. Hero Hunter is a lot easier to learn for beginners, but if you really want to jump into the action and learn a character that's going to help you in the long run, I would suggest learning the Strongest Hero. And trust me, there are plenty of tutorials on how to use it. Anyways, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the 6th tip on our list. And this is something that so many people aren't going to tell you. And I'm probably going to get some hate for saying this, but forward dashing isn't always bad. There's actually a couple good places to use it. For example, you can wrap around a player like this. And I mean, as you can see, guys, if I were to do a forward dash right now, look how far that sent me. Sent me all the way back from where the dummy is, 4 tiles forward. Now look how far a side dash sends me. 1, 2, 3. A forward dash is 25% faster and longer than a side dash. As a result, you can go from farther when you wrap around your opponent. The downside to this is your opponent's gonna have more time to turn around and block you. So it is also good to just side dash and do M1s. But one other thing that a forward dash is good for is starting combos, because you get 1 M1 from the forward dash and then you get 4 more M1s to hit your opponent. If you just do 4 M1s, that does 14% of your opponent's health. But if you do a forward dash and then 4 M1s, that's gonna do 18% of your opponent's health. But forward dashes are pretty shunned by the community because they are very predictable. But if you can learn to use them, especially for like baiting your opponent, like forward dashing to the side of them and then doing a side dash to fake them out, it can be super beneficial. So just experiment with that and incorporate it into your playstyle. All right, guys, moving on to the 7th tip. This one's pretty short, but just go up to your settings menu up here and do yourself a favor and enable the auto run setting and the remove packages setting. Remove packages is going to make everybody's body super blocky, so you won't have a disadvantage when you're fighting people who have really skinny body types. Like, for example, if someone was scaring, oh my gosh, what am I saying? It's been a long day, guys. If somebody is wearing the skeleton body pack, then they'll be a lot harder to see and they won't have an accurate representation of where their hitbox actually is. So turn this setting on to be able to tell exactly where they are at all times in terms of where their hitbox is. All right, guys, one other thing to know. Right here, I have an attacking dummy. And guys, look at this. You can actually perfect block in the Strongest Battlegrounds. Most people don't know this, but if you actually block just right as soon as your opponent hits you, and this is super hard to time correctly, by the way, but the next time that you punch them, you'll actually do more damage. And guys, it's even possible to land a block so perfectly that you do what's called a black flash the next time that you hit the opponent, and that's pretty crazy to get. I'm not entirely sure if you can perfect block dummies or not, because I'm pretty sure I'm landing perfect blocks right now, but I'm definitely not getting any perfect block damage, so definitely try this with a real player. And yeah, just learn to time your blocks really well. All right, guys, moving on to the 9th item on our list, which is faking and movement. Guys, when you are moving around in the Strongest Battlegrounds, this is what every single pro will tell you is the most important thing. It doesn't matter, you know, all your moves and stuff. All that stuff does not matter. What matters is that you're playing in a way that is really unpredictable to your opponents. So that means jumping around, dashing, back dashing, creating gaps between you and your opponent, closing gaps between you and your opponent, really just playing unpredictably and giving yourself the advantage wherever you can get it. Especially because there's so many long range attacks now, like explosive shuriken and blitz shot. You've got to be ready and on your feet at all times. And guys, as for movement and like how to fake out your opponent, like I said earlier, you can forward dash to the side of your opponent and then, you know, block, do side dashes, you know, really just bait, praise, peril, especially if you're fighting a hero hunter main. And then guys, you can also hold block and kind of walk back to bait them over to you and then do a hook dash to get around behind them. Lots of really, really powerful stuff that you can do with faking out your opponent and moving intelligently. And I've made videos on that before, and I have more content coming out on it very soon. Anyways, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the 10th myth on our list. Myth? Oh my gosh, dude. Okay, guys, if you've been watching my videos recently, you know that I spent so much time recording that 100 myths video that every single time that I record, I accidentally say the word myth at least one time. It always finds its way into my videos now. This isn't even a myth video. Anyways, the 10th item on our list is to study what people are doing that you're trying to do. So, I mean, literally, the guy that I was talking about earlier who has a 1,000 kill streak in the Strongest Battlegrounds, his name is Flores, and he's a content creator. I mean, he just puts out those videos for free and teaches you how to play like him. Just watch his videos, get in the mindset of how exactly he's doing that, and then see what you can replicate. If you take all the skills that I mentioned in this video, I can guarantee you'll be 200% 100% better within like a week. And especially if you're just starting out, I mean, you'll be 100 times better in a week, maybe even in a day. These are seriously the most valuable tips that I know how to even tell anybody, because they've helped me and I'm sure that they'll help you. So guys, keep grinding. Don't give up. There's always room to improve. And especially with, you know, new characters coming out all the time and different techs being released, there's always new things to learn. So always keep up to date with the metas. And once again, the best way to do that is just by watching out with different content creators and seeing what they're doing. But yeah, guys, that was 10 things that I wish that I knew whenever I first started playing the Strongest Battlegrounds. And I hope that now that I've given this knowledge to you, you'll be even better. If this video did help you at all, please consider subscribing down below. We're trying to hit 500,000 subscribers before 2025, and the window of time for us to do it is closing in fast. So subscribe down below to make it happen. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again very soon. Peace.